on.
I mean, no, not on YouTube.
Still not on YouTube?
No, it might take a second.
Nope.
Hang on.
There's something wrong with
Yep.
Hey,
We're good?
We're good. We're good. We are on YouTube.
I
we
think
live.
I think it kicked us off Facebook though. There's something up. Well, anywho. Okay, well, hey, you guys missed the first 10 minutes of the show. So our apologies. Brian's here with DemonErasers. He just told us how God pulled him out of a life of polyamory. And
how a demon called him out. That was crazy.
So, and if you want to see that first 10 minutes, I guess it did stream to our X. So you could go watch that there. But let's hop into the main subject for this evening, which is Satan's little season. Something that I've been seeing online quite a bit, actually, Brian. Like you talked to me about this maybe like 6 months ago.
Bro, I've been, yeah, I did. I mentioned it to you. I was like, bro, you gotta know. And then, and you were like, make a video. And so I did make a video.
Oh, no,
I made a bunch of videos for you.
Nice.
Some people get roses. I get a bunch of videos about Satan. You know,
you wouldn't be happy with roses anyway. This is way better.
No. I want a dozen YouTube videos.
I don't know, with your clean face shaven thing now. People are even making comments online.
On YouTube's?
Yeah.
Guys,
about your face. They don't even know who you are.
I know.
Just everyone. That is Ben. Don't leave. He didn't leave.
This you know how people say that? Hey, you know how people say like Alex Jones got cloned or like replaced or something? I just accidentally shaved my mustache off and people are like, he got replaced. Israel got him.
They got to the Benedetta show too.
Yeah, bro. They're scraping the bottom of the freaking barrel. You know, if they're capping us. Oh my gosh.
When I called you Baby Ben. Baby
Ben. My wife likes it, and she asked if I can accidentally cut my hair off too. So
don't listen to her. Don't listen to her. All right, let's get into this because I don't know anything about this subject. So you're gonna have to talk to me like I am.
Yeah,
you're new.
Say it then, like a 6-year-old.
Like a 6-year-old.
Sure,
Start from the absolute foundation.
I actually asked ChatGPT to talk to me like that from now on.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
It helps.
Good tactic.
Yeah.
I had to tell my ChatGPT to stop avoiding questions and talk to me like a robot. So because my ChatGPT like kept trying to be like a person more. I'm like, stop acting like a person. I was like,
did it sound like it? Was it talking to you in the way that the transcript of Tyler Robinson and his lover were communicating?
Basically.
You know what I mean?
The vehicle, the squad car.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I just did a video on that. It was insane. It was so ridiculous. The transcript is insane.
There's a lot of questions.
So obviously, like made by a police cop, you know, obvious. It's so many things wrong with it. Anyways, so let's talk about the same little season thing, because this is important. I've been knowing about this for a long time now. I've been quiet to talk about it. I've been suspicious of it. I've been like looking into it. There's a few things that kind of stick out to me at first that you should question, that pretty much every Christian should question. And this is the reason why the little season thing is like, you know, a big deal. But you know, if people question this and really think about it, it's like, oh, that does make sense. Or that doesn't make sense. Like, for instance, there's a Bible verse it's talking about when Jesus says, some of you standing here today will not taste death till they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds, right? Y'all know that verse, right?
Yeah.
So how do you reconcile that one, Dennis?
Don't ask me, man. I'm
bro, you said to talk to you like you're the one. You're the one I got to talk to.
I have to ask ChatGPT how to respond to that first.
Oh, come on. What do you think that means?
Dennis's eschatology is now filtered through ChatGPT.
Well,
I don't know, man. I think that, you know, the Bible does a lot of now and later type of talk. And so I don't know how to reference that. I don't.
So Jesus is talking to his disciples and all the people.
Okay, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
And he's saying, some of you standing here today will not taste death till they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds. And he says another one, this generation will not pass away till they see the Son of Man coming. So where are those people today? Are they dead? Or are they really old?
I heard a crazy story that John the Baptist, not John the Baptist, but John, the Apostle John, is probably still alive. Have you heard that one?
That I've heard that one, and that is an absurd idea that you have to, you kind of have to like go to. But he said, some of you standing here today, not just John. You know what I mean?
Right.
Said some of you standing here today. So I mean, it's kind of we have to conclude to that really absurd conclusion that there's ancient 2,000-year-old people walking the earth somewhere, hiding, that nobody knows who they are, secretly.
Brian, you're saying they either are still alive because we're still waiting for the coming, or that the coming happened while they were alive then?
That's exactly, that's exactly the conclusion when you read that verse. Because he says, some of you standing here today will not taste death. Now, there's another conclusion. People try to justify that verse, and they go, well, maybe when it said the Son of Man coming in his power in the clouds, it was like the transfiguration when Jesus appeared on the mountain, right? But the problem there is that he said, shh, don't tell nobody. That wasn't coming in power. They just he just revealed himself. That wasn't coming in the clouds with his angels. That wasn't coming in power. That was just a revealing of himself. So that is obviously not what he was talking about. There was no angels coming with him.
I'm curious.
In the clouds.
I'm curious what Lynette's going to say in the comments, how she's going to interpret this.
Someone said that they're in Antarctica.
Oh my God, the chat's already popping off. Okay. But anyway, I'm curious to hear what Lynette will say about the coming in the clouds.
That part.
Some of you will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds.
Yeah. So that kind of makes you wonder. And as a Christian, you read that verse and you go, huh? And you write it off. You go, okay, whatever. And then here's another question you should ask yourself as a Christian that believes that Revelation's coming. What did everyone else believe for the last thousands of years that has been going by? Did they believe Israel would become a nation again? No. They actually all believed that the millennial reign kingdom had already happened, and that they didn't know where the millennial reign kingdom was. And there was debates about it. In fact, you hear stories called the Golden City. Where's the Golden City? Like the Golden City to El Dorado. And you realize the guys looking for the Golden City of El Dorado was looking for the millennial reign kingdom. And this Golden City they were all looking for, the early explorers and stuff. So it's kind of like, that's weird. It kind of sounds like it sounds a lot like they were looking for a millennial reign kingdom, cut streets of gold, they said. And the things that they were looking for kind of line up with our descriptions of heaven in a physical sense. Now, there's nothing that directly says it is that specifically, but it makes you wonder, is that what it's connected to? And there's some stuff, there's one writing in particular about that kind of lays out its connection to Jerusalem and the Golden City. I forget what it's called. There's a book about it, but that's just one of the theories. But you're like, well, this is not the theory that the church held to historically. They didn't believe there was going to be another Israel because Israel was wiped out and the language didn't exist. The tongue was no more. They didn't speak Hebrew for 2,000 years, supposedly, right? Since 2000, when they destroyed it. Hebrew no longer was a spoken language. We resurrected Hebrew. So there's a lot of people who are like, Hebrew is the magical word of the Lord. It's the magical language. No, fool. Hebrew is a botched, resurrected language, resurrected by a dude that was likely a child abuser. Who knows what else he did to his child, who didn't let him speak any other language other than this made up language of Hebrew. Yes, put it on. This made up language that he forced his child to only be able to speak and couldn't associate with other children. Okay, it's a version of Yiddish hybridized with Germanic, hybridized with Arabic. It is not at all what it sounds like, and we have no clue what it sounds like because it all got destroyed and ceased to exist. So Israel as a nation got destroyed and ceased to exist. And so a lot of times we look at the things in the Bible and we go, okay, that's a really weird situation. Like Revelation. Do you know when Revelation was written?
Pre-destruction or post-destruction of the temple? It's like, it's debatable.
Exactly. Well, a lot of people will say it had to have been written after the temple was destroyed. And you're like, okay, well, that's weird that it had to be written after the temple was destroyed, because it sounds a whole lot like he's talking about the temple getting destroyed. And so what we've done is the dispensationalism is the view that Christians have right now, thinking Revelation hasn't happened. The idea is that we've gone and said, well, it could and couldn't have happened. So the temple, that there has to be a third temple that has to be built, so it all can all be destroyed again. But there is no third temple. There is no promise of a third temple. There is no, and all the destruction of the promise of the third temple, all of those Bible verses you've been told about that are made up nonsense. And it's all referring to the second temple that got destroyed in 70 AD. And when you realize that the destruction of the temple referred to in Revelation, all of those things happened. And you just don't know because you weren't told what history happened after the temple got destroyed. You've just been told there's a big empty space between 1,000 years and now, 2,000 years and now. It's just a big empty gap hole. And you don't have no clue what happened after Jesus. Well, we do have a clue. This guy, his name is Flavius Josephus. You heard of him?
Mm-hmm.
He's the Roman historian who validated your Bibles that you read today. He's the one that reasoned why you know the Bible verses, the Bible books in your textbooks today. What they say is because of this man, Roman historian, also Jewish, wrote down all the texts that were in the Bible or in the temples at the different Jewish synagogues. And this is how we determined what actually is accurate. Okay, so this man is the dude that validates it. Well, he talks about what happened after the Jews' temple was destroyed. He records it all. And so all the things, and here's the thing, like if the second temple, we know the second temple was destroyed, but no one in the Bible, in history, in Revelation, or any of the Gospels ever mentioned that temple being destroyed. So why would they talk about, Jesus says, not one of these stones will stand upon another, and says, and that happened. Not one of these stones will be left standing upon another. You want to know what happened? Roman historians, we write about it. The temple had gold, and after it got destroyed, the Romans went around and ripped the stones out to get all the gold out, and not a single stone was left standing upon its other.
Right.
So that happened at the second temple. Now, there is no third temple. There is never supposed to be a third temple. Third temple was made up nonsense.
Hold on.
Yeah, what's up?
Questions.
Yeah, questions go.
Okay, so you're saying that would this mean that Revelation was written before?
Yes, before the temple was destroyed. AD? That's why they never mention. If it was written after, why wouldn't he mention the fire that broke out or the destruction of the temple at all? Why would he just ignore the fact? Dude, it's like so obvious that it was written before.
Yeah, that is pretty suspect that there's no mention of the temple being destroyed anywhere in Scripture when that is the fulfillment.
Was the holiest of holies.
But it's also the fulfillment of so many of the prophecies and curses that Jesus proclaimed upon that generation and those people. You know what I mean? That was their system. That was their religion. And to not mention that in Scripture is that's
pretty insane.
So, okay. So let's say it's written.
And Jesus also cursed the fig tree and said, may you wither and die and never produce fruit again. Who do you think the fig tree is? Makes you wonder, don't it?
Isn't that historically Israel? Isn't that what they say?
Oh, yeah, it is. It is. Definitely.
Okay, hold on. Don't go on. You can't just drop stuff like that without me being prepared and shielded.
Okay. Keep going.
Okay, so let's just say written before. So Revelation written before the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. Okay. Then there's verses about some of you here will not taste death until you see the Son of Man coming in the clouds, right? So let's get those two things down and now keep going.
Okay. So let's talk about some more of the evidence. So these are just biblical questions y'all as Christians should ask yourself. And in fact, a lot of atheists will bring up some of these points and just use it to disprove the Christian viewpoint. Okay. And they're right. They should use it to disprove it because there's a fallacy here and there's a logical inconsistency with these things if you don't realize that it already happened. Okay. The fact that they don't mention any destruction of the temple at all, that's a very concerning thing. We should really be looking at it. Now we can get into more details about biblical verses that are questionable in Revelation. There's a lot more. Like, for instance, all the churches to, the Philippi and the Laodicea church, those were actual locations, actual churches. We know where a lot of them are, and we know exactly what it was. Like those were actual locations, and it talks about removing your lampstand if you don't do this and blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, those were real locations that happened. And you know what? The dispensational view has to go, well, maybe we're the church of Laodicea. No, those are letters to actual churches that no longer historically exist.
I didn't know that they like personify them.
Yes.
Oh, you didn't know that? Of course. Yeah. I mean, every church was personified, because we could be like any church at any time at different times of our life.
I know you could like preach from it and be like, oh,
Yeah.
don't be streams that are lukewarm like this church. But I didn't know that they're like, oh, that's not speaking to a specific church. It's speaking to like all Christians.
That's exactly what they take from the Revelation when they read it. They go, these are the warnings. And in fact, there's 2 churches where God says they will be spared from the coming destruction. Well, they're dead and they're gone. So obviously they weren't spared, or the coming destruction already left and is gone, and we're way in a different time zone than what you think you were in. Does that make sense?
Say it a different way.
So in the church of Philippi, is it? I believe it says you will be spared from the coming destruction. Yeah, and the other church. What are the 2 churches that will be spared from the coming destruction in Revelation? Ask ChatGPT. Go. Go.
And
ChatGPT.
Go. Yeah. So I know that there's a couple that are spared. So, would that be the destruction of Jerusalem?
Yeah, that would be the destruction of all that stuff.
It says Church of Smyrna and the Church of Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Yep, they're spared. And the thing is, they're spared from the coming destruction. And then Paul writes, I am your brother in tribulation. Why would he say I'm your brother in tribulation if the tribulation hasn't come, guys? The tribulation's coming. Oh no. Except for he said, I'm your brother in tribulation.
Do you remember where he said that?
Just Google it. I'm your brother in tribulation. John.
ChatGPT, go.
Sorry.
Oh, is this in Revelation where he says this?
Maybe.
Because if he's saying I'm your brother in tribulation, and it's referring to like the tribulation in Revelation, would that imply that they're living through it?
What's it say, Dennis?
Revelation 19.
Yeah.
Revelation 1:9. I, John, your brother and partner in the tribulation and the kingdom and the patient endurance that are in Jesus, was on an island called Patmos on account of the word of God and the testimony of Jesus. So I, your brother John, and partner in the tribulation and in the
tribulation, because he's living in it.
In the kingdom.
So would this be like during the destruction or during that tribulation phase?
Yes.
John's writing it, but then why is he still not mentioning the destruction of the temple and stuff?
Because the tribulation started, but the destruction of the temple didn't start. So it was the beginning of the tribulation. That's why he wrote the letters to warn them for what the destruction that is to come, it says over and over.
And he's like prophesying about what is going to be happening.
What's about to happen.
Interesting. Okay.
And it's pretty obvious. When you read it, it's pretty obvious. Like all the Revelation eschatology that people have right now is just absurd when you start really actually reading things for what they actually mean. Like he says the church on 7 hills in the Bible. Or the city on 7 hills, that's Rome. That don't exist anymore like that. Okay, so like you gotta take all these physical things that he's saying, which would make sense at that moment, and you got to put metaphorical purposes to them and be like, oh well, maybe it means like the Roman Catholic Church, or maybe it means this, and it's just absurd. You're taking things that were physical and you're making them metaphysical, and then you're taking things that are metaphysical and you're trying to claim that they're physical. Like, for instance, like the Jerusalem city, New Jerusalem, comes down to the cube. That cube description is so big that that's clearly not a physical thing.
What? But why?
But why? Because it wouldn't fit on the earth. Okay? Like, it wouldn't fit on the earth.
No.
Yeah, it fits over America. Dennis, pull it up.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, well, whatever.
Bro, we're all about the cube. We're all
anyways.
Listen, don't mess with the cube.
Okay, I won't mess with the cube. But the logical ridiculousness is that maybe it could have been a physical thing, but Jesus said, my kingdom's invisible. He says it over and over. He says, my kingdom's invisible. He says, if I cast out demons by the finger of God, you know that the kingdom of God is already upon you. It's already here. Okay, so the kingdom of God is here. He says it's an invisible one. So he's saying the kingdom is already within us, it says. So the new kingdom, the new Jerusalem, is probably something we're not understanding that's within us, which is why I think the earlier explorers during this time probably went looking for the physical kingdom, because they were like, well, where's it at? We never saw it. Like, we missed it. Or what happened? And they went looking for the city, the golden city. Okay. Because they were missing the fact that it was probably an invisible one. Or, it could be physical, and there's some theories that it could be in the sun right now. The sun is just the kingdom. There's also theories that, like, maybe the kingdom's at the North Pole, and if it's at the North Pole, that's why all the arrows point to the North Pole. There you go.
Boom,
nice.
baby. Boom.
I was pretty sure the edges would be floating.
Cool. I'm all about the cube.
Yeah, dude. I can't wait, dude. I hope it's like close to the Bahamas, like where it's placed.
Also, let's not forget that descends to the new Earth. Don't for a second think the new Earth has to be the same size as the existing one.
Yeah, sure. And the new.
Okay, bro, you're talking about the freaking new. You're talking about the North Pole.
Well, the North Pole could be, dude. It could be the sun. The sun could be the new Earth, and we're just leftovers.
How is my theory? Okay, dismissive, but that the kingdoms in the sun is not okay, dismissive. We're both crazy here, bro.
I get it. I'm totally okay with it. So here's the thing. Yes, there's another theory that it could be in the North Pole, because it says it will point north. And I don't know if you know, but the compass was discovered and invented right at the point of the transition of the year of our Lord, when it we 00 AD, bro. Like, which, by the way, we're called the year of our Lord. We're in what year? 2000 AD, the year of our Lord. Okay, we're in the millennial reign, past the millennial reign kingdom potentially, but all the compasses point north. So like that, the compass is pointing that direction. It says in Revelation that everybody will go to the north, and so like where the North Pole is, on old maps has land, but now they tell you there's nothing there, just the North Pole of nothingness. It's just water. How do we not know? Or the South Pole could be the North Pole for all we know. And there's an ice wall around the kingdom, and we just can't get to it.
Oh, yes, boy. There is. Yes, there is.
I mean, there's theories. There's theories for the kingdom stuff. This is complicated. We don't need to go digging into the theory stuff. Let's stick to the other thing, because this is more speculative. Let's stick with the facts, okay? So right now, it says, some of you standing here today will not taste death till you see the Son of Man coming in the clouds. Ready? Now I'm going to read you Josephus's writings. Now, how well are you familiar with Book of Revelation, Dennis?
Oh, like the back.
I love that you're calling out Dennis the whole time. This is
I know, man.
Well, Ben, Dennis. I'm sure you're familiar enough, right?
Yeah, Dennis.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Tell me. Shit. Let's go.
All right, we're going to read Josephus's writings. All right, this is book 6, chapter 5. This is the Antiquity of the Jews, the Jewish War, actually. I'm going to read you some events that happened after Jesus died that the church didn't teach you about. Okay, this is pretty cool, actually. So this is a Roman historian, pretty drab reading. It's like this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, until you get to this page. And when we get to this page, this happening, talking is like, what did this dude just say? And it's shocking. Okay, so this is I'm going to read you the moment of revelation, by the way, and this is very fascinating. It says, thus there was a star that resembled a sword, which stood over the city, and a comet that continued a whole year. Okay, so imagine a sword-looking comet for a whole year looking up in the sky. What did Jesus say? It'll be like the coming of the Son of Man will be like from the east is to the west. So the whole world was seeing this comet for a whole year. Thus also before the Jews' rebellion and before those commotions which preceded the war. This is the war that destroyed the temple for the second temple. Okay. And before those commotions which preceded the war, when the people were to come in great crowds to the feast of unleavened bread on the 8th day of the month of Xanthicus, Nisan. And on the 9th hour of the night, so great a light shone around the altar of the holy house that it appeared to be bright daytime, which lasted for half an hour. What does it say about Revelation? It says something about there being silence for half an hour. It's kind of funny that he mentions that. I don't know. Pretty weird.
In heaven.
Yeah. But there was a bright light shining on their temple in the middle of the night. All of a sudden, their temple started glowing for half an hour. And they were like, and it was just like something crazy. He was like, what the heck? This light seemed to be a good sign to the naive, and was so interpreted by the sacred scribes as that pretended those events that followed immediately upon it. At the same feast, also a heifer, as she was led by the high priest, to be sacrificed in the temple, gave birth to a lamb in the midst of the temple. Okay.
What the heck?
So this is, by the way, this is history. He's not, you know, not on the side of Jesus at all. Actually, he's just writing what the events happened. And he was like, dude, this is crazy. As the temple got destroyed, these things were happening, and he recorded it. There was, and so all of a sudden the temple in the middle of the night starts glowing. They bring in a cow, and the cow gives birth to a lamb in the middle of the temple. We know the lamb is the Lamb of God. It says, moreover, the eastern gate of the inner court of the temple, which was of brass and vastly heavy, and had been with difficulty shut by 20 men, and rested upon a brass covered with iron, and had bolts fastened deep into the firm floor, which was there made of one entire stone, was seemed to be opened of its own accord about the 6th hour of the night. Now those that kept watch in the temple came but running to the captain of the temple and told him of it, who then came up there, and not without great difficulty was able to shut the gate again. This also appeared to the vulgar to be a very happy prodigy, as if God did thereby open the gates of happiness. But the men of learning understood it, that the security of their holy house was dissolved of its own accord, and that the gate was opened for the advantage of the enemy, so that these publicly declared that the signals foreshadowed the desolation, like the abomination of desolation, the desolation that was coming upon them. Besides these, a few days after the feast, on one of the 20th day of the month of Artemis, Jair, a certain great and incredible phenomenon appeared. Here's where it gets crazy, guys. This is the moment of Jesus coming in the clouds. And by the way, it's crazy. There's so much more, I'll tell you. I suppose the account of it would have seemed to be a fable, were it not related by those that actually saw it, and were not the events that followed it of so considerable a nature as to deserve such a signal. For before sunsetting, chariots and troops of soldiers in their armor were seen running among the clouds and the surrounding of the cities. Dang. Isn't that interesting? Chariots and troops of armor. Sounds like angels coming in their power in the clouds, doesn't it? Isn't that fascinating? Moreover, at the feast which we call Pentecost, as the priests were going about by the night into the inner court of the temple, as their custom was to perform their sacred ministrations, they said that in the first place, they felt a great quaking and heard a great noise. And after that, they heard the sound of a great multitude of people saying, let us remove from here. Let us be gone. Let us make haste. These are the words in different languages of translation. Let us be gone. Let us make haste. Let us remove from here. Isn't that interesting?
What's the book title that you're reading from? Someone asked in the chat.
Oh, that's called Josephus, Flavius Josephus. Here you go. The writings of Flavius Josephus.
Okay.
This is Flavius Josephus, book 6, chapter 5, the war, the Jewish war. This is the events that happened right before the temple got destroyed. Mm-hmm. Do you not think for a second that nobody in the biblical timeline would have written any of these events down? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, bro, John wouldn't have written this down.
In the Bible?
Why isn't this in the Bible at all? This should be a very good question you should ask yourself, because it should be in the Bible, actually.
The Bible was written before these events.
Yes, this should be in the Bible.
Okay,
but the biblical text we have today, all of it has been written before these events happened. And they were magnificent events. There was a desolation, an abomination of desolation that happened, by the way, in the temple. One of the high priests, or one of the Caesars, went in to the temple and declared himself God. Isn't that fascinating?
I think we looked this up, Dennis. Wasn't that Antiochus Epicurus or something?
Yeah, Antiochus.
Yeah, but that was like 400 years prior or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. You're not saying it happened in 70 AD.
No. But there was another situation also where one of the people declared himself, another Caesar declared himself God as well. And so we don't know. I mean, if that already happened like that, and then he sacrificed a pig in the temple.
Yeah, I think I forget the dates on these, Dennis. You could look these up, but The only thing that I remember hearing, like growing up, was that Caligula or whoever was emperor at this time, at the destruction of the temple, that he had a statue that was erected in the courtyard of the temple or something like that. We looked that up. That wasn't true.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. But
that wasn't true. But I remember hearing that growing up, and that was supposed to be the abomination that causes desolation. But the thing is, like, bro, the Romans just going into the temple and into
that's
the
an
courtyard
abomination.
and sacking it, that's an abomination. And it caused the desolation of the temple. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
And not only that, but Josephus writes about there being so much blood in the streets that it came up to the horse's bridle. That sounds like the wine press. So much blood. That's insane. That's an insane amount of blood. That's a supernatural amount of blood. That's an unnatural, unusual amount of blood. And you're like, that's pretty weird. Though, didn't it say the waters turned to blood? Yeah, the waters, he mentions, ran with blood. And you're like, so, well, that's a lot of blood if it's coming up to the horse's mouth. You know, there was an event that happened in India in 2010. Have you looked that up? Look up 2010 India blood rain right now. 2010 India blood rain. Now, I don't think that the wine press blood, I don't think that it's talking about in Revelation. I don't think it's necessarily the same thing as actual people's blood. But in 2010, India rained blood. It literally rained blood, and they were blood cells. They looked at it under the microscope, and it was straight blood cells. They had no DNA, but they were little blood cell donuts, just like our blood cells, and it was red. It rained blood. Are you sharing that screen?
Yeah, it's just taking a while.
There you go. Blood rain in India.
Tweaking.
Look at that. Look at the microscope right there. There you go. That. Yeah. This is what it was under the microscope. And they looked at it. It was literally blood rained in India.
This was in 2010?
Yeah.
How is this not like the craziest news ever in the whole world in 2010?
I've never heard this in my life.
Yeah. So this is similar to the event that actually happened in Revelation.
Dennis, can you chat GPT if this is real and what the explanation is?
It's very real. There's a whole documentary on it because they did a piece. They did a interview piece where they actually looked at the blood on the History Channel, and they actually interviewed the people while they were looking at the blood.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was the History Channel or Discovery Channel or something.
Okay. So Josephus talks about all this supernatural stuff that occurred, right? As the temple or before the temple gets destroyed. What's it say, Dennis?
It says I wasn't able to find credible evidence that a blood rain event significantly took place in India. It wasn't able to. Most known events of blood rain in India occurred earlier, notably 2001. Here,
2001. That's it.
Okay, so this is right here.
Yeah, 2001. I got it wrong. Not 2010.
And does it tell us what the explanation was?
No, but I'll tell you what their conclusion was.
What was the conclusion on the history?
They now come to the conclusion that maybe somehow this event that happens so rarely was somehow one of the rare phenomenon that triggered life's formation on the planet Earth.
There's no way.
That's what they believe. Yeah.
That's the History Channel?
Yeah.
Bro.
Discovery Channel.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever
Chat
heard.
is saying that it's spores of algae.
It's not algae though, because when they look at it under the microscope, it was literally blood cells without DNA.
Okay. We won't get into it much more here, but we'll have to look into that one for sure.
And
that's interesting.
No, it's very fascinating. Okay, so there's more details. I could keep going. There's so much more details, but when you read through what he wrote, you'll just be like, what? You'll be like, dude, Revelation happened. And it's been misconstrued. And our history has been misconstrued. And everything they told us has been misconstrued. In fact, in 536 AD, there was a darkness that went over the earth. Do you know about that one? The sun stopped shining in 536 AD. Look it up.
Pull it up.
536 AD. The sun stopped shining.
Dennis, you are gonna get a raise after this one. Just stay on point. Okay. You're gonna go from $0 to $0. Okay.
Can't wait, man. Thank you. My family's.
But it's definitely a raise.
But it's a raise. So all this supernatural stuff happens in AD 70, before and probably during You don't have to screen share the text from
Yeah,
chat.
536 AD. What's it say?
But I kind of want to. Contemporary writers across Europe. During this year, a most dread portent took place. Portent? What is a portent? During this year, the most dread portent took place.
I thought you told it to talk to you like you're 6.
For the sun gave forth. I don't know. Oh, this is the Byzantine historian. That's why he's some historian dude. Massive.
It's giving you references
eruption.
of the text that talk about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to tell you, since you're using Chat GP stupid, apparently. So Chat GPT
good thing you shared it though.
Fire it.
Yeah. So 536 AD.
That was totally worthwhile.
Yeah. There was a sickness. I said Google it. You Chat GPT'd it. You didn't listen to me. I told you.
I don't even use Google anymore. Who's Google? Who's Google?
It. Google it because you'll see it on the History Channel. It'll talk about it. On the History Channel, you'll see History Channel 536. Why much of the world went dark in 536 AD. And they believe it was due to a volcanic eruption that supposedly darkened the whole planet. Okay. It darkened the entire planet. And it blocked out the sun. What does it say in the Bible? It says the moon will not give its light. The sun will go dark and the moon will turn blood red, right? In Revelation. That's what actually happened.
Let me read this. So 536 AD, the sun did not stop shining entirely, but was dramatically dimmed for about 18 months due to a massive volcanic eruption, likely in Iceland, that filled the sky with ash and aerosols, creating a persistent fog or haze.
Dude, for 18 months?
A year and a half, bro.
Wouldn't everything die?
Yes, everything died. The crops died. They all failed. Everybody's babies. They were eating each other's babies and like murdering people. It was just total chaos for a year and a half. And guess what? Jesus said, how terrible will it be for nursing mothers at that time? Isn't that fascinating?
But what does 530 something AD have to do with the tribulation?
Because the light, the candle, the time frames, the timeline they've told you is bullcrap. The time frame they've told you does not make any sense. That didn't happen at 536 AD. It happened at 36 AD, probably like 3 years after Jesus died. They added extra time to our timeline calendar, and we know this because if you look at the Egyptian or you look at the Samaritan calendars, there's like a shift that doesn't line up with certain things. And if you look at the Chinese calendar and you look at the Roman calendar and we look at all the calendars and we line them up, we can see these major worldwide events like this darkness event, and you can line it up. And when you do that, you realize, oh, we might not be in year 2000. We might only be in the year 1000. We might be the year 1000. It could be 1500. It could be 1600 or 700. There's like 3 guesses. There's like, they've either added 1,000 years to our calendar, they've added 700 years to our calendar, 500 years, or 300 years, depending on a few different variable things when it comes to aligning of the calendars that we know that exist today. We don't quite know how much time they've added, but they've added a bunch of calendar time to our calendars and manipulated it. So we don't know when these events actually happened per se in comparison. And we don't know if they were manipulated or like for instance, the event you said, and when the emperor declared himself God, we said, oh, that happened 400 years before. We don't necessarily know if that's even true or if that was the events in pertaining to what is going on. So there's a lot of distortion that's been going on with the calendar. And in fact, it actually says in the Bible, it says Satan will seek to change the times. You ever read that verse?
No, Dennis, pull it up.
No, pull it up.
Yeah.
Dennis, stay on it. Everything he says, you should be typing the whole time. Just use like a transcriber, like an audio to text. You know what I mean?
Satan will seek to change the times, it says. It says he'll seek to change the time. You know what I'm talking about?
Wait.
Daniel 7:25.
Yes, Daniel. There it is.
He shall speak words against the Most High and shall wear out the saints of the Most High and shall think to change the times and the law. And they shall be given into his hand for a time, times, and a half a time.
Isn't that interesting? So yeah, so he actually did change.
That is
the
interesting.
time.
It says he shall seek to do it. Doesn't say
he shall think.
No, it says he'll be given into his hand.
He shall think to change the times, the ESV, the times and the law, and they shall be given into his hand for a time, times, and a half a time.
Okay, hold on. So you currently believe that our whole history is just BS. Like they've added 1,000 or 500 or 700
Okay,
years.
let me just ask you a question.
No, wait.
That's silly to ask.
Hold
on.
Hold on.
Let me ask you first, and then
Okay.
you can answer that question. So,
let
me tell you right now. During the Dark Ages, they told you it was the Dark Ages, and it was so corrupt and so evil and so wicked, and there was wars and so many things going on. We just didn't write anything down for 1,000 years. Nobody wrote anything down for 1,000 years. Isn't that funny? What does it say in Revelation? There's a 1,000-year reign of Christ. Wow, for 1,000 years, we didn't write anything down. And you're like, but yet we have the most elaborate building structures, all the cathedrals, all these most amazing structures and all these bells and all these technology. And they have the most elaborate structures being built during a time where it was so much chaos and war. We didn't know what to do with it. And not only that, they were built and there's no bathrooms in them, A. And there's also no lighting system in them. And we could tell they didn't light them with candles because there's no soot on the ceilings. But we don't know how they were lighting these structures. And we don't know where the bathrooms were at. We had to add electricity and bathrooms to these structures. We did. So that's a little bit weird. And it was built during a time when the world was in such utter chaos. And we had horse and buggy. And we went through and built the most elaborate cathedral structures in the world. The most ornate, designed, intricately perfect structures. And we went through and built all this during a time when everybody was at war with horse and buggy.
Okay, hold on. Let me read about Dark Ages. A traditional usage. Older historians, especially during the Renaissance and Enlightenment, called the period after the fall of the Western Roman Empire, 476 AD, the Dark Ages, because they saw it as a time of cultural decline, fewer written records, and less advancements compared to Rome and later medieval Europe. In that sense, it often refers to roughly 500 to 1000 AD, so about a 500-year period.
No, it's a little bit longer than that.
Okay,
there's certain people that say it was during 500 years. Some people say it's about 900. It's about 1,000.
Okay, modern view. Today, scholars avoid the term Dark Ages because it unfairly suggests nothing important happened. In reality, this period saw the spread of Christianity, the rise of new kingdoms, preservation of classical knowledge in monasteries, and cultural flourishing in Byzantine and Islamic world. Instead, historians use, I'm illiterate. Instead, historians usually call it the early Middle Ages, later Middle Ages. After about 1000 AD, Europe entered what's often called the High Middle Ages, and then later Middle. Okay, so just because stuff wasn't happening in Europe doesn't mean that the rest of the world wasn't.
It wasn't happening in the rest of the world. The rest of the world, there's like little things that they've distorted.
There's the Byzantine Empire. There's the Islamic revolution that was going on. There's a bunch of stuff going down.
Let me just keep going with you. They've manipulated this calendar to put things out of place, and we know that. So hold on.
I know, but there's like treasure troves of Islamic documents from this era. No.
Yeah. And I'll tell you right now that a lot of that's not in the right time frame because they've got other gaps that are missing in their timeline. And if you just go, okay, why do they have a huge gap here? But then they've got all the timeline moved to this section. And it's like, but we have a big gap here. Every timeline has a massive gap in it. Every timeline that we have of recorded history. And that's why the debate is if we condense all those gaps out, we know that they've either added 1,000, 500, 700, or 300 years to every single calendar.
Okay. Hey, Brian, let's bring it all together thus far. Okay. So thus far, Jesus tells the apostles, some of you standing here will not taste death until you see the Son of Man coming in the clouds, right?
And then I read you in Josephus' writings, the Son of Man coming in the clouds.
John on Patmos prophesied or writes that he's in tribulation with you guys and predicts what's going to happen, arguably to the second temple, right? And then Josephus, the historian, recounts everything he saw or everything he compiled as to what happened.
Nobody in the biblical narrative talks about the temple destruction, even though there's supernatural miracle crazy stuff going on.
And Josephus documents supernatural crazy stuff.
And not just Josephus, Tacitus and one of the other historians also write about that same event happening, by the way. There's 3 historians that write about the clouds, the chariots with troops of armor and their son coming. Oh yeah, it's documented by 2 other historians.
Okay, so those events are documented by multiple historians. And then the temple is destroyed. Okay. Rome takes out the freaking Jews. There's blood up to the bridle of the horse, like you were saying, running through the streets. Okay. So it sounds like a lot of the Revelation stuff was fulfilled. Okay.
In fact,
and
I can point to almost all of the things in Revelation happening in history somewhere, but the timelines have been skewed.
Got it. And so you're saying that stuff in Revelation has been fulfilled historically.
Yep.
It's just that they've added history, or they've added time in order
times and half a time
in order to like alter when those things happened and to throw us off.
Yeah, basically in a lot of ways. Now, let's get to the.
Okay, so that's where we're at now.
Hold on. We'll get to this. We're going to read Revelation 20 where we're at. So this is the actual theory. I had to give you those elements as preface before we get to this.
Bro, that was appetizer?
Those are appetizers, yeah.
I've already got diarrhea.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to read you where we're at right now, so that way you understand what the little season concept is, okay? This is where we're at. So it says, then I saw an angel coming down from heaven, holding in his hand. This is Revelation 20. This is where we're at, guys. Mm-hmm. Then I saw an angel coming down from heaven, holding his. Oh, wait, I forgot to mention, you know that the Statue of Liberty is Satan, right?
That I do know.
Okay, and you know that there's a big chain broken on the Statue of Liberty's ankle, right?
Okay, so Dennis can pull it up for the folks here.
Statue of Liberty.
Statue of Liberty against what? What's the other statue?
Statue of Lucifer.
Statue of Lucifer. Dennis,
maybe I should pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up because Dennis.
Bro, why don't you pull it up?
Yeah. I love you, but gotta. Let me do this.
Yeah, I'm just really slow. I'm the oldest one here. I'm the old man here.
Yeah, Dennis.
Wait a second.
Dennis
I don't know where my screen went.
Dennis is a boomer.
Bring the call back.
What was the other one? Statue of Liberty, statue of what?
Lucifer.
Of Satan? Of Lucifer.
Yeah, statue.
While you guys like battle,
we're gonna race.
Googling.
We're gonna race.
Did you know Lucifer is not the name of Satan?
Yes.
Did you know Lucifer is a word that Jerome made up? It's not a translation of the Hebrew text, the Greek text. Lucifer is a word that Jerome in 400 AD made up when
I think there was
when he was translating the text into the Latin Vulgate, and he just personified the term light bearer or light bringer, whatever you said. And
I think there was a priest that had the same name as Lucifer.
But just saying, anytime somebody's like, "Oh, Lucifer is his name," that's actually not true. That was concocted. It was completely manufactured in 400 AD by Jerome. Catholic.
Interesting. Is my hand being raised when I hit this button? It won't let me hit the buttons on the screen.
It won't let me share, dude. It's tweaking tonight, man.
Yeah, it won't let me share.
Riverside's
really
whack.
Can you share?
There you go. You're sharing. Whoever just shared is sharing.
Yeah, me. No, yeah, that's me.
That's you, Dennis?
So, okay, Statue of Liberty.
It's because you guys were both trying to share.
Probably.
Okay, scroll up. Stop scrolling down. Okay, that's Statue of Liberty. That's the painting of Lucifer. I want you to add in Statue of Lucifer, Czech Bank at the end. Just delete Statue of Liberty.
Czech Bank? Like the Czech Republic?
Just type Czech, how you spell. CHCZECH. But whatever, that's fine. Close enough.
What?
That's close enough. Czech Bank. That's fine. Bank. Yeah, just go ahead and type that in.
Dennis, I'm taking your bonus.
Click that top left image right there for me. Top left image.
Top left. This one?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, there you go.
Can you see anything?
Who's that? Click on that. Click on that image.
Maybe a Roman emperor?
Yeah, maybe a Roman emperor for sure.
It's going
so slow. Why did it disappear?
It's coming back. It's going so slow. Now it just kicked me out.
Riverside?
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We don't need to show images then.
Sorry. Folks.
So that's the Czech Bank. Look at that. You can see it yourself, Dennis. Do you see what that looks like?
Yeah.
That's the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, it does look like it does. I'm trying to pull it back up because it's important.
Thank you. It is important.
Look at that. Statue of Lucifer. It's got the crown. It's got the torch in his hand.
How do you know that's Lucifer, though?
It's called the Statue of Lucifer. What do you mean? How do I know that? It's the name of it.
Thanks for scrolling up.
Like, dude, that's the Statue of Lucifer.
Damn.
Okay, so anyways.
Why would you have that there?
It's got the prowl around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he's going to devour. Right?
Bro.
Yeah, that's Lucifer with the 7 crowned point. He's also Helios. If you type in Helios, you can see that it's Lucifer is Helios.
Okay, so this is a I guess this is like.
And notice, look at the statue where the white statue where he's got wings and he's got a broken chain. He's got a chain on his ankle. See that statue of Lucifer with the wings? He's white.
I'm looking for. Oh yeah. I see it. Let me see if I can pull it up.
So he's got a little torch thing in his hand. He's got a chain on his ankle because he was bound. Now here's the other thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the same thing with the chain on the Statue of Liberty, right?
Yep. And there's a broken chain on the Statue of Liberty, just right there.
Wait, the Statue of Liberty has a broken chain too?
Yep.
Yeah.
A broken chain on its ankle.
Okay.
That's the Statue of Lucifer.
Can't these artists
Okay, stop speculating. Let me keep going.
Oh, okay, I'll stop speculating.
You stop speculating. Let me keep going.
Oh, you can keep going. Okay.
I don't want to argue with it. I'm just telling you what it is. You can be like, debate it later.
That's true. You are just telling me what it is.
I'm just telling you. So then you can, because I've already had these debates several times, and it's like, bro, it's almost like the plausible deniability thing. You can go down all the rabbit holes and be like, but what if? But it's like, okay, well, cool. At a certain point, you're going to be like, okay, well, there's too many what ifs.
Yeah, but I'm just saying God didn't sculpt these and send them to Earth. These are made by
men
like
that
men
know Satan was let out.
Possessed. How would they know that?
Because they worship him. So check this out. Ready? I'm gonna read this to you. Okay, ready? Then I saw an angel. Mind you, let me mention the statues. The statues didn't exist for about 1,000 years. There was no statues being made. They stopped making them for about 1,000 years. They all went, and we can now even talk about the statue, which is called the Colossus of Nero and the Colossus of Rome, which Colossus of Nero stood in front of the Roman Colosseum where they were sacrificing humans and beheading them. And then after that, it got destroyed. And there was about a 1,000-year period where no statues were being built throughout the world. Kind of weird.
What era is that supposed to be in?
Dark Ages.
But there's a ton of statues.
It's about a 500 period to 1,000 period where they debate that none of the statues were being made. Statues like this stopped being made.
Okay, but I'm pretty sure I could pull up statues from like every single era.
You know what? I'll tell you right now, you can. And I think a lot of the dates, you can see that there is a gap where they were making a bunch of them and then they stopped. And there was a period where there was hardly any statues being made.
But how, okay, just a question. Okay. How would I be able to defend against this if everything that I ever bring up, you're like, yeah, but the date's off?
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? It's like an impossibility.
Well, I can tell you right now, there's a big gap right after the 1,000-year reign of Christ, the year of our Lord. Year 0, okay, year 0, for about 500 years, there's no major statues. You can ask ChatGPT. What major statues were made in the year 500 AD? Okay, what major statues? List the dates. This is what you would have to ask ChatGPT. List the dates and names of all major global recognized statues from negative from 1,000 BC to 1,500 AD.
Bro,
and you're going to see
so many.
No, there's not actually. And you're going to see all the major ones go blah, 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 all the way up to the year of our Lord, and there will be like a little bit of a gap, and then you'll start to see one, and then you'll see another one, and then you'll see none, and then you'll see a bunch of like continue go. And so there's like a gap where there was like hardly any being made.
I'm going to share this.
And okay,
if I can find it.
What's major? I mean, what's some major statue?
Like these statues are the statues of the gods, of the fallen angels, dude. That's what every one of those statues are. They're just.
Can you guys see this?
Yeah, read it or whatever, or show it. So look. So from 1000, there's a bunch of statues. And then from 1 to 500, there's only 3 statues. And then scroll down. And then 500 to 1500, look at all those again too. But the 3 statues right there, I debate whether those are even significant or even accurately placed there. You can look into the debates between that. But like, there's only like literally like 3 statues.
Well, I mean, if there was a big ass volcano that erupted, then people couldn't see to make statues.
That's a good point.
Because there's the freaking Dark Ages, and they're like eating each other, not worried about
but
carving granite.
Not only were they not making grandiose statues, they were building the most magnificent buildings at that same time.
So we have these only the church.
Yeah, we have some magnificent structures being built with bells and stuff that are amazing, and then we have these no statue things being going on. Okay, I'm giving you weak little arguments, little pieces of all of it. So when I get to this, we're gonna read Revelation 20. And I'm just giving you the little tiny breadcrumbs. You'll start putting the pieces together. When you look at all the breadcrumbs, you'll be like, okay, this does make sense if we look at it from this perspective. Okay. So let's read where we're at. Revelation 20. Ready? It says, Then I saw an angel coming down from heaven, holding in his hand the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain. And he seized the dragon, that ancient serpent who is the devil, and he bound him for 1,000 years. That's why that statue of Lucifer's got a chain on his foot. Okay, it says, and he threw him into the pit, and he shut it and sealed it over him so that he might not deceive the nations any longer until the 1,000 years was ended. After that, he must be released for a little while. That's where we're at right now, the little while. And that's why you see the Statue of Liberty with a broken chain on his foot. And that's why it says 1776 in his hand, because that's likely the year where Satan was declared free from the pit, was in 1776. Okay. The United States is the declaration of Satan's release. That's why it's written on his little book.
The United States is?
Yeah. The declaration, 1776 was the declaration of Satan's release.
But I thought, that, aren't we like founded by Christians and stuff in America?
Bro,
like
Benjamin Franklin had freaking dead bodies in his basement. Did you not read about that?
He's just a creeper. Like, that's just one dude.
Bro, they were all occultists. Do you not know what Thomas Jefferson wrote?
That might be true, actually.
Yeah, do you not know what Thomas Jefferson literally said? The rounded rotunda is dedicated to all the pagan gods. The rounded pantheon of gods. Do you not know that America is like completely occultic when you look at our ancient historical roots? Yes, there's Christian nation of what?
Yeah, God is like in all the documents, right? Like, I mean, they reference God,
bro,
in all the.
They are deists. That doesn't mean God of the Bible, bro.
Yeah,
it says literally. It says God of nature is what's referenced in the Constitution, or the what is it?
Who's the dude that cut out a bunch of the Bible? Jefferson?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of true. They were all kind of whack. They all believed in some sort of a God, but I don't believe that they believed in like the Jesus we do.
Type in Jefferson, pagan gods. Just type in Jefferson, pagan gods. It'll come up.
That's also why our money says "In God We Trust."
Yeah,
because it's not specific whatsoever. Anybody could read their God into that statement, and actually lots of the statements of the founding fathers.
Jefferson, pagan gods, Library of Congress.
And it's not like they enacted a theonomy, which is like the biblical laws of God upon this nation.
Yeah, I'm going to read you from the Library of Congress's page. You can't really see it. At the bottom of it, it says the Roman Pantheon, the circle rounded domed rotunda dedicated to all pagan gods, was suggested by Jefferson, who later shepherded it through its several transformations.
Damn.
Why do you think we have a pentagram as like our center section on top of, why is it called a pentagon? Okay, why is the pentagram in the streets? Pentagram is the center section of a pentagon, center section of a pentagram. But the streets have a pentagram in it at Washington, D.C.
It is true. There are a lot of occultic symbols in like the development and the layout and architecture and stuff. That's very true.
Bro, there's a bunch of Satanists that ran the country, that ran the world, that built our country on the ignorance of Christians being like, okay.
That's true.
Yeah.
I did use that voice when starting this.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so you're saying that we are currently in that season where Satan's released? That's what
now let me keep reading.
Season refers to?
Let me keep reading. It says, so Revelation 24, ready? We're going to start here. Then I saw the thrones, and seated on them were those that had been the authority to judge and committed. And also I saw the souls of those that had been beheaded for their testimony, which is their eyewitness expression of Jesus and for the word of God. And those who had not worshiped the beast or its image and had not received its mark on their forehead or their hands. Okay, now, mind you, there's a bunch of writings about Nero marking people. There's stuff, it's like hard, it's few and far between to find it, but apparently I've read some stuff about Nero marking people with ash on their forehead before they could buy and sell in the market. They had to put it in their hand and put it on their forehead to buy and sell in the market and denounce Jesus. And this was like a thing going on. In fact, Ash Wednesday in the Catholic Church is like a reenactment of what was deemed the mark of the beast in a sense.
Dennis, you're not sharing anything.
Yeah.
It's just a black screen.
Just a blank screen.
I'm not doing anything.
Are you serious?
I didn't even click anything. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
wow.
like tweaking out. I tell you.
Okay, share your screen, Dennis. Try to share your screen. It'll go away.
Yeah, maybe. Did it help?
Dang, man. What a bummer. So this is the first time.
Yeah.
This is the first time Riverside's glitching
Demons.
out. Hey, erase them.
All right. Get off. Ready?
Dude, it's still not. Okay, now you're showing a Bible verse.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to stop it.
Is it not stopping? There it goes.
Okay. So we're no longer going to go back to beheading people again, as much as people want to be like, Obama bought all those beheading chopper guillotines. And
dude, I heard that. I heard like 500 or something he bought.
We're not going back to beheading people. Like this was mentioning the people that died in the Roman Colosseum where they were chopping their heads off. This is where we get the idea of Roman candles, because they were dipping Christians in wax and then covering them in wax and lighting them on fire on a stick. Okay. You guys know about that? Roman candles, what those actually are? Yeah. Okay. So we're not going backwards into beheading people again. Okay. So this is referring to a group of people that eyewitness saw Jesus. Okay. It says those of the word of God and those that had not worshiped the beast or its image and not received its mark on their forehead or their hand, they came to life and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. About how long was the Dark Ages? About 1,000 years. The rest of the dead did not come to life until the 1,000 years was ended. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy are the ones who share in the first resurrection. Over such, the second death has no power, but they will be priests of God and Christ and will reign with him for 1,000 years. Okay, the rest of the dead did not come to life. Isn't that weird? What is this talking about? So there's 1,000 years of peace, then Satan's let out, then the rest of the dead come to life. You know who we are? We're either the children of the rest of the dead or we somehow are the rest of the dead. Like we're the children of those that either the rest of the dead, whatever the rest of the dead is, this is a debate. We don't know. The rest of the dead could be those that received the mark, got a second chance, or it could be those that never got an opportunity to meet Jesus, like the Philistines that lived before Jesus came, and God allowed them to be resurrected to live again with the opportunity to know Christ after the 1,000-year reign of Christ. We don't know who the rest of the dead is.
Bro,
there's a lot of speculation. This is just speculation at this point. Say what?
I said so much speculation.
Well, you don't know because it's not very clear, but we do know that 1,000 years, Christ, that's why we're called the year of our Lord, bro. We're living in 2000 AD,
so
the year of our
saying
Lord.
that we're post-millennial reign of Christ right now? So Satan's been released?
Yes, we're in the time where Satan has been released to deceive the nations.
When was the 1,000 years where Christ ruled the earth?
Yeah, so hold on, I'll keep going. It says, and then when the 1,000 years was ended, Satan will be released from his prison, and he will come out to deceive the nations that are at the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, and gather them to battle, for the number is like the sands of the sea. Okay, so there is in England, it's called the Gog and Magog giant parade, where they believe Gog and Magog was the hero that saved England, these two giants. And they worship them and they have a parade for Gog and Magog. And in Judaism, they also believe in Gog and Magog. And there's this war of Gog and Magog that's coming that they believe in. Okay? Gog and Magog, they call it.
Gog and Magog.
Yeah. And so this is what's coming. It says, and they marched up over the broad plain of the earth and surrounded the camp of the saints of the beloved city. But fire came down from heaven and consumed them. So that's what's about to happen potentially. And then the devil who had deceived them was thrown into the lake of fire of sulfur. The beast and the false prophet were, and they will be tormented day and night forever and ever. The end. So that's where we're at potentially.
So we're waiting for fire to come down and kill everybody?
I don't know. Something like that.
Can we go back to Ben's question about when did Jesus reign?
Yeah. So when's the 1,000 years where Christ reigned on earth?
Everybody was thinking that Jesus's reign was a physical one. It was like a temple physical thing. But Jesus said, my kingdom's invisible. Now, if you look at video footage of the earlier footage that we have of the world, there was a bunch of people. There was no homeless people in the world. The world was in peace. There was a bunch of peace. Why do you think they didn't write down any history? Because who's going to write? Sally went and got her eggs from Susan today. Nobody wrote down history because the whole world was in peace. We have the most elaborate structures being built during this time. We have the most amazing unified parts. There's things like called the mud flood, which, by the way, that's a whole nother subject we can get into.
Oh boy.
That we have evidence of, which there was a massive destruction all over the earth. And we can see that there's massive destructions. And it says there was a third of the earth got flooded, a third of it got burned, and a third of humanity died. What do you think all the catacombs are, bro? The catacombs, do you know about the catacombs? All those dead bodies? You know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
They're just crypts, aren't they?
You don't know the catacombs?
No. I don't know what that is.
The piles of bones that you've seen and under the churches and stuff, the piles of bones that just look like, type in catacombs. Look at images. Catacombs images.
But what does that have to do with this theory? Isn't that
because this is the moment where everyone died? This is literally okay. You know what Pompeii is?
Mm-hmm.
That was the moment of revelation where everybody died. Jesus says the first time he says, people are like, the rapture's coming. When you read the verse on the rapture, it says literally, one will be man standing in the field, one will be taken, one will be left. Two men will be at the bed, one will be taken, one will be left. Two people will be doing this, one will be taken, one will be left. It says, where, Lord, where will they be taken? And he says, where the dead bodies lie, the vultures will gather. Look at all that. See those bones? Click on those. Click on one of those images, like that one.
That's pretty.
Yeah,
it's not that one. Click on the ones where it's decorated, like the bottom. That one. Yeah, that one.
Why can't this just be bones of dead people? Why does this have to be when everybody died?
Yeah, because all those bones, if you carbon date them, guess what? They all died at the same time. You know what science wants to tell you? They'll be like, oh, they acquired them through graves and slowly built them up, except for they're all the same age, death. Like, and they're like, oh, well, maybe there's a transmutation of catacomb blood, or like somehow the carbon fused with the other bones since they were so closely packed to each other. Bro, that's Revelation. You're looking at the remnants of Revelation right now, bro. That was all the evil people that fell over dead. They don't, the flesh doesn't come off of their bones either like that. And then they stacked them all. Are you kidding me? What do you think that is?
I'm searching I'm searching to see if the carbon dating in the catacombs is all the same. The Roman
they don't want to tell you that.
I know, but then how do you know
look it
that?
up, look it up, look it up.
How do you know that
there's people that try to say about the carbon dating thing.
The Roman catacombs, for example, were used over several centuries from the 2nd to the 5th century AD. So that's 300 years of boning or
bone collecting.
I don't know. Sorry. Bones belong to many generations of Christians and sometimes Jews or pagans who are buried in layers of the catacombs. Carbon dating, archaeologists have carbon dated select remains from the catacombs.
Select remains.
These show a range of dates, not one uniform time. This makes sense because catacombs were active burial sites over long stretches of time and mass graves for not mass graves from a single event. Identification methods in addition.
That's lies.
But that's the thing. Like, how do you know that they're all carbon dated at the same time?
Because there's other scientists that went and carbon dated them and said, hey guys, these have different, they have the same time zones. or the same carbon release thing, and they had to like justify it by saying, well, maybe there's like a special circumstance where the carbon transfused from one bone to another. It's like that doesn't happen. So
yeah, let me see. Are there any studies showing that they're all from the same time? Oh boy, I don't want to read this whole thing. But no, it says the same thing. It says it's about a 300-year period that they've been dated to. So I don't know. I don't know how I would, if the argument's just like, oh, the dating's all off.
Well, here, think about this way.
They added time, then it's just like, well, I can't argue.
I get it. Well, think about it this way. I totally get it. Think about it this way. Like for 300 years, we started stacking a bunch of bones out of nowhere. And let's say it even is just 300 years period. Okay. Like, what did we do? We ran out of bones and we just stopped stacking them. Like, where'd they come from? Where'd we get the bones? Why are we digging them up?
We'd have to.
Where's the graves we dug them out of?
It says it was a mass grave for people, right?
Yeah. A mass grave because there's a bunch of dead people. And there's not just, bro, the catacombs aren't in one location. There's catacombs
this was strictly the Roman catacombs.
Oh yeah, there's catacombs in like 7 different locations around the world.
Yeah. I mean, listen, there's a lot of people dying all the freaking time.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't mean that
why do we have mass decorative burial sites for like all over the world like that? That's pretty weird.
I don't know, cultural thing. Same thing as
in different locations. Bro, I ain't about to touch some dead guy's pile of dead bones and just stack them in a decorative form like that. That's not something I'm going to do.
Yeah, it could have been a sign of like respect or something, you know, for former Christians, your forefathers.
Okay, we can justify a million different ideas. Sure.
I was just saying, I don't know the history as to why they did it. But
well, they did it in 7 different cultures around the world, though. That's the thing. It's not just in one location.
Were they all Christians?
I don't know. It's debatable in some of them.
I'm going to ask. Are catacombs combs a Christian?
I'm sure I wouldn't be shocked to say they're Christian related because it happened when the whole world became Christian.
No, these are just interesting. Yeah, catacombs are associated with Christianity.
Yeah,
so
of course.
That's interesting.
Because it happened when the reign of Christ happened, and they went around and all the dead people, all the evil people fell over dead, and they went around and the vultures ate their body, and then they went around and picked up all the bones of all the dead people and just started stacking them in a building somewhere or stacking them underground as a big mass burial grave.
Why the heck they do that?
Because they didn't know what else to do with their bones. There was a bunch of dead evil people's bones.
Bury them. Don't create like catacombs of their freaking bones. Okay, so you're saying we're in the time of Satan's release after the millennial reign. So when did Christ reign? Like
for about 1,000 years from
physically on earth.
Yeah, for 1,000 years. And we don't know if it was a physical reigning or it was some type of spiritual reign or what. But here's a really interesting fact. I'm going to tell you right now. Every religion started around the 1800s. That's when, or about a little bit before that, every religion rebooted itself in around the 1700s, we'll say. And every religion had a major sort of revamp. And that's about when Satan was let out. We don't have exact times because we weren't there. And all the history we've been told has been manipulated. So we can't really tell directly. And that's the part that we're doing right now in this research of the little season is we're digging into stuff like this and trying to find evidence that proves the narratives of what we're finding might be true, or if there's any obscure evidence that they've tried to bury, which there's a lot that they've tried to bury on this topic specifically. And so they don't want people to know these things. And so there's multiple studies of multiple stuff that kind of has anomalies that we just kind of write off. Okay. So like Pompeii is the first volcano we've ever recorded being erupted. Guess when Pompeii happened?
It was pretty early on.
70 AD, right when the temple got destroyed. Isn't that fascinating? And in fact, Pompeii might be the event of the world when all the volcanoes erupted all at once, which darkened the whole earth. And that's why it went into the blackness.
Wait for it. When did Pompeii erupt? 79 AD.
Yeah, around 70 AD. There you go.
Very Pompeii, 79. Yeah. Okay, and that's out in Italy. There.
That's a moment of you're looking at the moment of revelation when you see those people frozen like that, bro. That's a moment of revelation happening.
So you don't trust that it was 79 AD? You think that that's like added time or something?
No, it might have been 79 AD. But it's close enough.
I mean, that's 9 years later.
No, it's close enough. It could have been, who knows?
I admit it's close enough. Yeah.
Great. Dennis chimes in.
We're always talking about 400 or 500 years in between differences. You're talking about 9.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
Hey, okay, hold on. They had not, so this is Revelation 20, verse 4. They had not worshipped the beast or its image and had not received its mark on their forehead or their hand, and came to life and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. The rest of the dead did not come to life, blah, blah, blah. This is the first resurrection, like you said. And then the second death has no power, but they will be priests of God and of Christ and will reign with him for 1,000 years. So you don't think that the reign of Christ was literal?
No, it could have been, but it might not be what we think it was. Because after, it could have been the reign of Christ was literal on the planet Earth for 1,000 years, and Christ reigned with his holy saints, and all the saints that the Catholics are referring to are just stories of these inevitable, invincible individuals that reigned for 1,000 years that reset the world into a better place of state of existence, and then they just poofed out of existence, and then all the people came to life in around whatever year after the 1,000-year reign of Christ, we don't know. And all those people came to life again. And this is where you get the idea of reincarnation. Reincarnation isn't what we think it is. It's there's a lot of stuff when it comes to like those people. We had a bunch of insane asylums and we had the baby trains. Do you know about the orphan trains? Okay, Google orphan trains.
Oh my gosh, Dennis, orphan trains.
So orphan trains, there was a bunch of children that showed up out of nowhere. And they tried to tell us that, it was just from crowded cities where people just decided to give up their children. Bro, 200 years ago, if you had a child, it was not something you would give up. Okay? And you could type in baby incubators.
My computer's like frozen. I can't type anything in. For some reason, my whole computer is
Ben, look
frozen.
up baby incubators and orphan trains.
I'm looking them up.
And here's the thing. Like, people they were like, okay, this stuff was not... these are events that happened that don't make any logical sense, bro. A bunch of children showed up out of nowhere on these orphan trains.
But hold on. If it was, how do I share screen first? Dennis, this is your job. Tell me what to do. Share.
Bottom right next to the leave button, it says share.
Boom. Orphan trains. Little Orphan Annie. Is it working?
Yeah.
Okay, look. Orphan trains were a program from 1854 to 1929. Dude, almost 100 years. That's like 80 years. Where hundreds of thousands of children from East Coast cities were transported to rural areas in the United States and Canada to be adopted by farm families.
That's not true. And it wasn't just in those locations. It also happened in other locations around the world. And in fact, it was actually involved in the creation of Australia, because all those people that moved to Australia, a bunch of them were given orphans to move to Australia.
Initiated by Charles Loring Brace and the Children's Aid Society, a movement aimed to remove children from the harsh urban environment and provide them with stable family life, moral training, blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Nobody was giving up their children at that time. Nobody was just giving up their children for no reason. Bro, this is where Little Orphan Annie, this is where all of our twist comes from. Like, dude, if you had a child back then, that was another hand to feed you. That was another hand to help on the farm.
Well,
wasn't something you would just give up.
Take care of them first, and then later you could put them to work.
No, but that's not how it was, dude. Look how old these kids are.
If you can't feed them, like, they're just gonna die.
Okay. That is impossible. They weren't giving up children because they couldn't feed them, dude. It's absurdity.
I don't know.
People knew how to like fish and hunt that time.
Not if you're in the city. Hence the
ridiculousness.
I'm thinking
it wasn't just
loud.
In the city. It was all over the world where these orphans were, by the way. And they happened also in Australia. They happen in multiple places. And there's also the insane asylums were happening at the same time. And you know what the people they were putting in insane asylums were saying? They were saying they were resurrected. So there's old writings of some of this stuff that I've come across where it's like people were saying, delusions of grandeur, believing they were resurrected. And so we don't have insane asylums anymore either, because the insane asylums, these are a lot of what I'm telling you is stuff you got to like research as you're digging into this, because a lot of this stuff has been like buried or contorted or misconstrued, but there's so much between the lines that you can read that you'll find out. Like, ask ChatGPT, why were the people in the insane asylums in the 1800s, how often were they making claims of being resurrected?
Hold on, baby incubators. Baby incubators were featured at several World's Fairs in the late 1900s and early 2000s.
The World's Fair is a
century.
very fascinating thing. Look at the images.
Notably at the 1904 St. Louis and 1933 Chicago World Fair, not as standard medical attractions, but as sideshows or exhibits run by showman Martin Cooney. Visitors paid a fee to see premature babies in incubators.
That makes absolutely no sense.
Which provided the funding for the baby's care.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Why
look
not?
At the images.
Look at these little guys. Boom. Look at this guy.
Yeah, look at the left. Look at the building to the left.
Little dude.
The first one. What's it say? Infant incubators. Scroll down. Look at some of the images there. Look at those. Look at that other image right there. Top left. Right there. That one. Top up one. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Left over. Up. That one. Yeah. Look at that. It says baby incubators. Okay, scroll down. Like they're all over the place, bro. There was this thing at World's Fairs. There's another one. Incubators. It says it. And you would go.
They're just showing small little babies. Like
they're not all small little babies. They're just children that they found out of nowhere.
That they found?
Yeah, some of them they found the children. They just started showing up in forests and stuff.
And what? These are like. So you're saying these are like
they found them in cabbage patches, bro.
Cabbage Patch Kids.
They found them in cabbage patches, and they walked, and the children came out of the forests.
Stop. What do you mean?
Okay,
Where is this?
The word cabbage actually means cherub in Hebrew, by the way, and so patch means portal. So cabbage patch means cherub portal, means angel portal. I'm not even joking,
bro.
That's
okay,
cool.
but where is this gonna like? Where do you find? Look at these guys. You're telling me these guys are angels?
No, they came out of angel portals.
Is my screen being shared?
Yeah. We're seeing all
those are demons for sure. Whatever
they do look like demons, dude. Those are Cabbage Patch Kids.
So,
have you never heard of those, Brian?
So where do you get this thing about them coming out of forests and stuff?
There's weird, obscure writings and books and anecdotal stories of people saying they found children, and that the logical conclusion also that they just had these children being dropped off out of nowhere, and the parents not coming back for their babies. Who's having children and just ditching their babies at the incubators
all the time? People throw kids in like trash cans today.
That's today's society. Back then, having a child was not a detriment to your existence. It was a benefit for your survival.
If you could maintain them.
Bro,
but, okay,
having another okay, how many kids you got?
0.
Okay, you obviously don't understand because it's not difficult to have a child. It's not like another mouth to feed isn't like the biggest thing in the world. It's easy to feed a kid.
If you yourself as an adult are starving, you gotta
be some next level of starving. You're obviously not a mom because women. I tell this to women. I tell this to women, and they're like, "Yeah, that's very weird." They would never give up their child, no matter what. They would feed their child before they starved.
Yeah, but if physically, if you yourself are starving, you're not producing milk to feed your child, so your child's gonna die.
That was not going on at that time. There was no mass starvation event.
That was like Dust Bowl, Great Depression, all that kind of stuff.
Bro, at the time where the children were disappearing and just appearing out of all of that is made up fairy tales told to you to believe a narrative so you don't look into what the true narrative is. It doesn't make logical sense.
Okay, so the reason this would be happening with the trains and the Cabbage Patch Kids and stuff
because it said in Revelation, after the 1,000 years, the rest of the dead would be resurrected. All of those children are the rest of the dead. And you can ask ChatGPT about the insane asylums, people talking about ChatGPT, insane asylums in the 1800s, saying at the same time, they were resurrected.
Yeah, but what if they're just crazy?
It doesn't matter. That's what they were saying.
All right. Can we there's a question in the chat for
only one?
Well, there's people are talking, but
okay.
It's not on this baby stuff, but it's Zechariah 14:4. That did not happen yet.
What's verse?
Zechariah 14:4?
Yeah, let's see.
On that day, his feet shall stand on the Mount of Olives, and that lies before.
Oh, that happened. That so happened.
And the Mount of Olives shall be split in two from east to west by Chat saying it hasn't happened, that it's
Pull it
still
up.
the Mountain of Olives still stands intact east of Jerusalem
Love it.
today.
Love your argument. Good. Go right now. Google Mount of Olives and click on images. Google, not ChatGPT. Google Mount of Olives and look at the images real quick.
Dennis,
It's going to take a while, but I'll try real
Mount
quick.
Okay, Ben,
of
you do it.
Olives.
Ben, you do it.
I'm looking at it right now. Hold on.
Mount of Olives. Click images.
Shoot.
Mhm.
Okay, well,
Bro,
let me share
there's
my
so
screen.
much.
Hold on.
There's so much about this has already happened. I could get into this discussion right now, but I mean, like, people talking about the gate.
Okay,
Look at that. Does that look like a mountain to you?
where?
I'm curious. Does any of those images look like a mountain to you?
More of a hill.
Yeah, not a mountain at all.
More of a mound.
Yeah, more of a mound, maybe.
But
Except for that's not a mountain, bro. And right there, click at that image right there.
Which
Middle
one?
left. This one.
The one I'm on right here.
Up. No, down. Middle, bottom left, far left, bottom. Over one.
Here.
That one.
Dude, this is hard, Dennis. You're getting a raise.
Bro, do you see that is a split of 2 mounds? There's actually 3 mounds for the Mountain of Olives. Mind you, there's no olive trees on the Mountain of Olives, bro. There's no freaking olive trees on the Mountain of Olives. There's a bunch of gravestones, and it's desolate and destroyed. It is nothingness. It is a wasteland.
There's an olive tree.
Okay, random 1 or 2 olive trees you might find.
I don't even know if this is the mountain because this is level with the temple. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With the dome.
Congratulations, you found 2 olive trees on the Mountain of Olives. The Mountain of Olives. Look at the top middle image. There you go. You can see all 3 points. So when a mountain gets split, by the way, there's a fissure line down the middle of that mountain that has obviously been moved. Okay. Fissure line.
How do you spell fissure? Fissure. I'm out.
Just type earthquake, type tectonic plate. I don't know.
Fissure.
Yes. Fissure line.
Elon, we need you.
Fissure.
Elon.
Okay.
We need the chip.
Let's see.
This one's self-guided walking. No, that's a walking tour.
Another one is Isaiah 11:6-9, where the wolf shall dwell with the lamb, and the leper shall lie down with the young goat. They're saying that didn't happen.
Yeah, that happened during the 1,000-year reign. That doesn't apply to us now. So, anyways, that mound, when a mountain splits, it turns into 3 little hills. When a mountain splits, there's actually a video of a mountain that's like having earthquake, some footage split, and you can see it because the mountain like this splits, and then the 2 halves crumble down. And then it turns into 3 little hills. And so that's pretty normal. The Mountain of Olives is 3 little tiny baby hills with no olive trees on it.
So you think Jesus stood on it? You think Jesus stood on it?
Yeah, I think he stepped in and it split.
And by split, you mean it took off because there's no mountain anymore.
No,
it's
it just went
a hill.
It went like this and then crumbled in.
Oh. Dang, bro. Okay.
Yeah, that happened. It's pretty obvious when you look at the Mountain of Olives, and it's not even a mountain. It's 3 little dirt piles of the leftover rubble of what used to be a mountain.
I wonder if there's any ancient descriptions of the Mount of Olives, like in terms of size or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be good. That's a good idea.
That would be good, bro.
We should ask ChatGPT about that one.
Dennis, get on it.
ChatGPT.
I'm on something else right now.
Descriptions?
He's on something else. Yeah, write it down, Dennis. Okay.
There is so much to this theory, guys. It's overwhelming.
Okay, let me ask this. Mm-hmm. So the idea that everything in Revelation's already been fulfilled, what's that? Is that like the preterist?
That's called preterism, and that's wrong. So
how's this
preterism is not the same thing as little season perspective.
Really?
Yeah.
No, it's not the same thing. Preterism is a whack idea. It's the idea that everything has been fulfilled and everything was just metaphysical and it's stupid.
But doesn't the little season say everything's been fulfilled and we're just in little season?
No, not everything's been fulfilled. We're in Revelation 20, bro. We still have the rest of who knows what's going to happen. Fire's going to rain down from heaven still. Like, who knows?
The Gog Magog. The Gog
Magog war might happen still. Like, we don't know.
So we're
Dude,
waiting.
you know another one? It says in Revelation, it says that, okay, this is a good one. This is a good one. It says the spears and the wood, the spears of the event of Gog and Magog, the battle, will be used for firewood for 10 years. The spears of all the battle of the war for 10 years. Do we still use spears today, guys? Are you that dull? What spear is going to be used for firewood for 10 years?
Maybe they're like futuristic spears, like
the
like
future, yeah, the
Star Wars.
futuristic
Lightsabers.
spears.
Like
We'll go back to wood
lightsabers.
in the future.
I
That
mean,
doesn't
listen,
make sense,
some
guys.
people
That doesn't
think-
make sense
some
if you
people
all want
think-
to have this argument.
Well, this is like an ultra literalist argument, you know?
Yeah.
Where some people just say, oh, okay, that's referring to the weapons will be melted down and there will be peace, something like that.
Yeah, but what it literally said, let me read this verse to you.
What verse is it?
I'm bringing it up right now.
Yeah, I don't listen. So again, some people will say that there's going to be like nuclear annihilation and a reset because look at all these prophecies talking about spears and swords in the end times, and everybody's riding horses again. So that seems to be the means of transportation. I don't believe any of that. I think that what they described
I don't think
prophetically
so.
spoke and used the language and the terms and the concepts of the people of the day. They weren't going to use the word lightsaber, you know, so they use the word sword.
Okay.
They don't use the word car, so they use the word horse. But it reflects transportation. It reflects war. Do you know what I mean, dog?
Well, here's I get it, but here's this. This verse kind of mitigates that. Ezekiel 39:9. It says, "And they that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth and shall set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and the bucklers, and the bows and the arrows and the javelins and the spears, and they shall burn them with fire for 7 years."
What's wrong?
That don't sound metaphysical to me. They shall make fires of them for 7 years.
Okay.
They shall burn them as fuel for fire for 7 years. They
So
shall
you're-
burn them
So you-
with 7 years.
So you're saying the only way that that's fulfilled is if it's in a time where they're using
For 7
swords and
years, they will
spears?
use them to make
Yeah.
firewood. Does that sound like that's coming, or does that sound like something that already happened?
Is there any account of that happening?
Yeah, it was probably erased.
Oh. Okay, so what you're saying is we're in the little season, and then you're going back and trying to find pieces of history that
That have been
kind of line
distorted.
up with what was described, but then when the time doesn't line up, that time must have been distorted.
Well,
that
you
right?
can find the pieces, and you can find a lot of these evidence, and you can find a lot of things like you were suggesting. I'm going to look into the Mountain of Olives, seeing if there's any old descriptions of it. That's a wonderful way to look into it. And so you got to look into each one of these subjects like that and go, I wonder if there's old writings. And you'll find old writings. You'll find old stuff. It'll be very well hidden because they deleted most of it and they don't want you to know about it. But you'll find little snippets of it, and you're like, okay, I found this. There's like 20 articles that say this, but I found these 2 articles that say this. And since there is these 2 articles that say this, I think the other 20 might be lying because the 2 kind of line up more so with the reality of what we're experiencing. Do you see what I'm saying? So they've tried to bury a lot of this evidence, but you'll find little pieces of it. And that's what I do. I look through and start digging through all these little pieces of evidence.
What? Okay, so you're not the preterist because they think everything's done. You still think we're in Satan season and there's still stuff. What's the amillennial one? Do you know that one?
Not really.
I think that one's something where it's like,
amillennial.
yeah, amillennial, whatever. It's something where it's kind of all like spiritualized or something like that. I could be wrong. But hey, let me ask this. Okay, there's another major camp that also believes things similar to what you're saying. That a lot of the revelation stuff has already been fulfilled, and the post-mill camp, our buddy Cameron is post-mill, and they believe everything you said about Revelation and Josephus and what he saw, and that it's all fulfilled in Matthew 24, fulfilled. What they believe is that we are currently in the millennial reign of Christ,
Yes.
and that Christ is currently ruling and reigning. And what we're waiting for is whatever comes after the millennial reign of Christ, which is what? The releasing of Satan? Oh, no. Yeah. They think that Satan is currently bound, and through the church, through the bride of Christ or the body of Christ, we will
Well, he's definitely not bound.
This is, I know. That's where it kind of falls apart. Just like at a certain point, you know, the little season stuff starts getting questionable. They believe Satan is currently bound, Christ is currently reigning, and the church is like recapturing the nations. Okay. And that will usher in God's or Christ's second coming or something like that. And I'm paraphrasing, obviously, and not speaking for them. So why not just jump into the post-mill camp where they believe the same thing, except for they think we're in the millennial reign? And
it's obvious that
they already account for like all this revelation stuff being fulfilled as well.
Yeah, it says that Satan will be released to deceive the nations on purpose, bro. And he'll seek to change times. Okay, bro, it says that. That's what we're dealing with right now. Satan has changed the times, and he's been released, and he's manipulating everybody into deception. There's more. There's more that I'll say you. The last thing I'll tell you about is this religious aspect. And there, for example, I'm going to give you an example because the religion, you're mentioning these ideologies, they've all come about from a perspective. I'm going to tell you about Sikhism. This is a great one because the Sikhism view, they have a guru, okay? Hare Krishna, okay, is one of their gurus. Yeah, they have 10 gurus. And Hare Krishna helped to make the mute mouth speak. And he also gave vision to the blind. Doesn't that sound like Jesus? Sound a little bit like Jesus, don't it? Hare Krishna. That maybe that is Jesus. They have 10 gurus. There's 10 commandments. One of their gurus, Guru Namka or something, went into the water 4 days. And he came out 4 days. That sounds like Guru Noah, doesn't it? And you're like, huh, that's pretty weird. Why does the Sikhism only has one God? They don't believe in idols. They don't believe in any other idols, only one God. And then they have gurus, teachers. Okay. They said that we will be kings and priests. Doesn't it say Jesus will reign as kings and priests for 1,000 years? That's why they wear the turban on their head. The turban represents that they are kings and priests. Are you following, Ben? You following all this?
Yeah.
Okay. So keep listening because you need to listen real quick for this one because it gets wild. They say that we're kings and priests. They carry a sword on them because Jesus said, sell your cloak and carry a sword. Okay. They all have a comb because it says, you got to be well kept, essentially unkept man is not good or whatever. And then it's like, they all have these rules that they follow. And you start to realize they have a word, what they call Christians in Hindu. You know what they call us? Nazarenes. Nazarene. Like, wait a second. Like Nazareth? Oh, yeah, like Nazareth. Do you know they have a word, Nazar, like Nazareth, which means the vision or the one who speaks, the speaker. That's in their language, bro. Nazar for Nazarene. Okay. And Jesus was from Nazareth. And do you know that when they get baptized, they don't cut their hair because that's the Nazaritic vow. That's why they believe Jesus had long hair because he came from Nazareth. So they don't cut their hair when they get baptized. Where did they come up with the idea of baptism? And then they don't cut their hair because they're taking the Nazarene, the Nazaritic vow. Bro, they are Christians. They don't even realize that their whole perspective is literally a perversion of Christianity. Their whole religious view is. Same thing with Hinduism. Same thing with Japanese culture. Same thing with Buddhism. So I could go into every single religion and show you that every religion that we have today is a perversion of Christianity. And you got to ask yourself, wait a second, that's pretty weird. They believe in the 10 commandments or the 10 gurus, their 10 commandments, and then their gurus just disappeared about 500 years ago. They don't know where they went. Their teachers, their gurus, and they're all seeking for them still. They don't know. Bro, they believe in Brahma, which is the God creator, which is Brahma. In Hinduism, it's Brahma marries Saraswati. Okay, and this is Hinduism. Saraswati, well, in the Bible, Abraham marries Sarah in the Bible. And it's Sarah is his father's daughter. Well, in the Hindu religion, he marries his daughter. He's the father of his daughter whom he marries. So it's like that's the same. It's just a distortion of the biblical narrative.
Yeah, I believe that. I just and you're saying that this is evidence that we're in the time where Satan's deceiving the nations?
Well, it's more than that. It goes more. Wait, listen. So Sikhism, they believe they're basically Christian. They're basically Christian, but they're distorted from Christ. Okay. And so they are a Christian religion with all the Christian principles. Same thing with Hinduism, same thing with Taoism, same thing with Buddhism. I could go into each one of these religions and show you stuff where you would be like, okay, that's definitely Christian. Like, what the heck? Where did that come from? Dude, it's in their language. It's in their words. It's in Japanese culture. The entire world was Christian at one point. Okay, why do the Muslims believe that Jesus comes back and reigns, or Jesus comes back to judge the world? Like, bro, it was originally a Christian perspective, and then it got distorted. All of it is Christian. Every religion, even Judaism today, is a perversion of Christianity. That's why they believe in Jesus, and they talk about Jesus boiling an excrement. Okay, they all have in their Talmud. Okay, Jesus, they're all after Jesus religions. Every religion today, there's no religion that exists today that is not pre-Jesus. All those religions got crushed and wiped away in a flood and destruction. And it says, like, in the end times, like when God comes, the cities and all the temples will be destroyed. Why are all the temples destroyed? Where's the Zeus worshipers today, bro? Where's all the Zoanthrianism worshipers? Where's the Babylonian worshipers? Oh yeah, they don't exist because God wiped them out because the whole world became Christian and they all followed Christ for 1,000 years. There was total peace on the earth and everything was in wonderful peace. And in Hindu, they even have these pools where King J, sounds like King Jesus, but King J showed up and had healing pools. There was healing pool. There was bells that healed people with resonance. There was all this weird technology of stuff that were like, these are weird fairy tales, it sounds like, but maybe that was actually just the thing that existed in the 1,000-year reign of Christ before Satan showed up and was released and deceived the nation again. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like every religion was Christian. Now I've healed people and I cast out demons. And like I've healed people and it's gone out and told so many other people that are like, bro, this guy healed me from cancer. And I get thousands of people, or not thousands, hundreds of people will call me and be like, oh my gosh, I heard so-and-so of so-and-so and blah, blah, blah. Can you pray for me? Can you pray for me? Bro, I can only imagine the disciples raising people from the dead, like walking around. Dude, the message of Christ assuredly spread to the ends of the earth within 40 years. So in 70 AD, everyone knew about Christ. That is a very easy for me to assumption. And everybody's like, no, not everybody knows about Christ now. No, everybody knew. It's very easy to assume that. I've seen it just from the experience I've had dealing with stuff and praying for people. Like, bro, I know they were doing 10 times the miracles, if not more. And like, dude, it was insane. The message of Jesus spread like wildfire to the ends of the earth. The whole world became Christian. Why did the Roman Empire convert to Christianity? That is insane. That is insanity. Like all of it became Christian. The whole world was Christian. And then for 1,000 years. And then when Satan was let out, he started to resurrect the Catholic Church. He started to resurrect all these false religiosities. Religion was resurrected. That's what happened. And he created Catholicism, and he created all these worship of pagan gods, and he resurrected Hinduism. And that's why all the Hindu temples are buried. They ought to dig them all up because they didn't exist for 1,000 years because there was total peace and everybody worshiped Jesus, and that was it. So all the religions started resurrecting. When was what's his name? What's that called? Mormonism created in the 1800s. I think it was like 1820 or 1860 or 1840. When was Jehovah's Witness created? Right in the 1800s. When was Seventh-day Adventist created? In the 1800s. Notice they're all revelation cults. They're all cults bent on the idea of revelation happening. They're all just these weird cults that are like, revelation's coming and this is what's really happening. That's what they are. And they all were resurrected or created in around about the same time. And you're like, huh, that's weird. That's pretty weird that all was created about the same time. That's because that was when Satan was let out and he started moving and perverting all the religions and perverting them away from the truth of Christianity and started creating these subsects of Christianity. And the world started getting more corrupt. If you look at old footage of the earliest footage we have of the world, it's like so different. And you'll have to talk to JT's perspective. This is just my perspective. JT comes at it from a very different perspective with these conclusions because he comes at it from the old world perspective of archaeological digs and things related to that. I'm a little bit more speculative on what I think and what I believe in this stuff. And I'm just sharing you all the crazy theories out there. Like, you know, but like there's people like Paul Stobbs, also the clown guy. He won't talk about it anymore because he got freaked out because of something. I don't know what happened, but whatever. He won't talk about it. And so, but he knows a lot of this stuff. Maybe you can get him to talk about it.
Richie the clown?
No, Paul Stobbs, the Nephilim are clowns.
Okay, different guy. Let me ask one more thing. I know you got to go here soon. Hey, so after 70 AD, temple's destroyed, Christ comes in the clouds, right? Does Jesus establish a 1,000-year kingdom?
I guess. I don't know.
So the millennial, right? The millennial kingdom happens after that. And that's that peace, the time of peace you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. And then that ends and Satan's re-released. So like in your time frame, like when was Satan re-released? Did you say 1776? That's when he got...
That was like his official come out, but like I think he might have been released a little bit sooner. And I think the reason why is because it was like, so like it was kind of like Lord of the Rings. You ever seen Lord of the Rings? You know, the opening scene where it goes, shadows grew of a whisper in the east, a nameless fear. It was like that. Satan like snuck out and people started seeing little weird behaviors in people. They started seeing like little goblin-y behaviors. Maybe there was demon creatures started crawling around. People were hearing whispers after there was total peace. And they're like, what's going on? Like, wait, why is the world? I thought everybody was in peace. And then all of a sudden there was just evil started popping up in places. You start hearing about human trafficking thing or kids going missing. You're like, this is not right. Something's wrong. Something's missing. And they're like, you know what? Maybe we missed the millennial reign kingdom. What is it? And they didn't realize that the peace was the millennial reign kingdom that was happening, because there were still people outside of the millennial reign kingdom that didn't know what was going on. Remember, in the description, they go to knock at the door of the millennial reign kingdom. There's other people outside of it. We're either the children of the leftovers of the millennial reign people, or we're the children of the rest of the dead, or we're the people. We don't know what we are. Like, and the thing is, like, to say that Revelation's coming is like the most, I could refute that way easier than I could prove that that Satan's little season's real, because there's so much has been distorted. But I can tell you the Revelation ain't happening, because I can show you the stuff that did happen, that all of that's we're pointing to. So the only logical conclusion you can come to is that we got to be living in Satan's little season or sometime after. Like,
so, okay, hey, if it's 1,000 years of peace after the temple's destroyed, how do we go from 1000 AD to 1776? There's a 700-year gap.
Yeah, so that's again,
or are we not in? We
might not be in that right time frame. That's what I'm saying. There's people that say we may have added 500 years, 700 years, or 300 years. And we don't exactly know.
You're saying we might just be right after the millennial reign. It might be like 100 years after the millennial reign.
It could totally be possible that
so Satan, right so the little season could be not a month, not a year. It could be hundreds of years.
Potentially.
That's a long little season.
Well, who knows? I mean, 1,000 years and he's let out for a little season.
Bro, when did this come out? When did Satan's little season like get developed?
I don't even know. Honestly,
Where did you hear about it first?
I don't know. I've just been researching it and talking about it and thinking about it and reading it.
But where did you hear it first?
Say what?
Where did you hear it first?
I don't even know.
It just, you stumbled upon it somewhere?
I don't even know, man.
Interesting.
Yep. Just it's something that I've just been looking at.
There's no historic lineage of this thing going back to somebody that first said it and then people kept repeating it?
Not that I know of. I mean, there could be. I've never looked it up. I mean, I know that the church had this viewpoint before. They didn't have the dispensationalist view. Was not historically.
That we were in Satan's little season?
Well, there was debates about that. If you read the early church fathers, there was debates about some of the stuff. I think there was talking about like where we are in the time, like, are we in the millennial reign? And they were like trying to debate if we were in the millennial reign. I don't know, or where we were. I mean, there's all kinds of debate about it. You know, that's the thing. This theory is not one that we can just like pinpoint. It's like something you have to look into to discover.
Yeah.
And so the more people,
I find that really interesting, because like all the other eschatological views have like a historic lineage that you could trace back. Whereas the Satan little season one is like, it's like a flavor of the day. Like it popped up out of nowhere and people started like talking and raving about it and talking about it on social and spreading it and this and that. So it's almost like a dude, it's like a viral eschatology. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. Maybe me and JT and Paul and a few other people talking about it is what's made it like super popular.
No, I believe that. That's what I'm saying.
So
It's like a viral eschatology. It's like something that has been developed lately and has been like spread because it's I will say it is got a lot of interesting stuff. And then you
Yeah.
bring together all of these like Google images and stuff and then add this little twist to it and you're like, "Okay, I can see what you're saying." I just find it it's a hard pill to swallow.
it
You
is.
know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
you got to look up the mud flood as well. That's something
Someone,
that JT talks about.
yeah, someone in the chat just talked about that. Tartaria led me to Tartaria. Yeah, led me to knowledge first because it's more sensible when you see the old world and mud floods. Then you see it biblically and it makes more sense, both archaeological and biblical. There's a question for you.
That's the path JT came down. He came down the path of the mud flood more perspective. And I was like, JT, bro, I think Revelation already happened. A lot of this has already happened. I just started talking to him about it and he was like, okay. First he was like, I don't know. But then the more he started digging into it, the more you dig into these questions, the more you realize this doesn't make sense.
What, this kind of stuff?
Yes.
What's up with this stuff? How does this tie in?
Oh my gosh. That's too long. I can't
Really?
go. Okay. There's so much more to it, bro. Like there's so many buildings that have been flooded and they dig under and there's windows at ground-based levels. There is so many structures and things related to this subject that are just like all of these buildings say that like they were built at a certain time, but they say they were founded. Okay. Well, why do they say founded? Because they were found. Because the world was in total destruction happened. And then it was found. They discovered these things. They rediscovered it. That's why there's Roman architecture in all of our Capitol buildings across the world. It's all Roman architecture and a lot of old stuff.
But isn't that what we were talking about earlier with like Jefferson, where he's like, "Hey, pantheon to the gods."
But not in China. That's how it is. It's Roman architecture in China. And you got to look up the World's Fairs. Bro, this is a whole nother subject. You got to look at the World's Fairs. That's a World Fair picture, I believe. You got to look at the mud flood, World's Fairs. Is a whole nother subject. When you start going down that rabbit hole, bro, you're going to start questioning everything because the mud flood and the World's Fairs do not make sense. The narrative they're telling us, the whitewashing that they did to our cities and the covering up of these elaborate designs, this just doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
That's a whole nother subject.
That's a whole Dennis, what question was there for him before he takes off? As you're eating M&Ms.
You caught me. Well, it was kind of a different question. Let me see if I can get back to it now. It was about Revelation, I think 10:4. Yeah. And when the seven thunders spoke. So do you know about this? The seven thunders spoke. I was about to write, but I heard a voice from heaven say, seal up what the seven thunders have said and do not write it down. Do you know anything about this? They said they're curious what the seven thunders spoke. That's a question for you.
I don't know specifically. I can't recall figuring that out, but I will tell you that in the book of Daniel, it says, seal up this prophecy till the end. And then in Revelation, it says, do not seal up this prophecy. So it literally says, reveal the prophecy, you know? And then he also says, he says, when they start speaking in tongues, he says, this is the prophecy spoken about, that this word of God will go out and be spoke by many languages. And he says, this is it. This is the prophecy being fulfilled right now. So you're like, well, if that's the prophecy, then the rest of what he's saying is probably the prophecy that's not being sealed up. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's a lot alluding to the sealing up of things and the not sealing up of things. And
well, Dennis, anything else?
Well, there was a question, but it talks about like the Viking age.
Oh yeah, the Vikings were Romans, and it's pretty obvious when you look into it because they have the same looking ships as the Roman ships. There's so much more to that, and we found Roman coins in the landing spaces where the Vikings were at. There's a bunch of stuff related to it. Like, who's to think that the Romans didn't take over the whole world?
The Romans, they didn't write about that.
Yeah, they took over the whole world. Do you think they didn't have ships? You don't think they did that?
Oh no, I'm saying the Romans didn't write that they took over the whole world.
They did take over every region.
No,
They took over the people, all the sailors. They took over whatchamacallit. I forget what country, the region where the Nordic people were in. They took over that whole region, and they all had ships.
Scandinavia, like that whole.
Scandinavians, yeah.
They might have, but I thought you were talking about like America or something.
Well, they could have potentially gone to America. I mean, that's might have been one of the roots of their takeover, because we did find Roman coins in America, but we find it in all over the place. Roman stuff is found in America. And then they try to say, oh, but that was just a weird, rare find. We don't know why that's there. It's like, the thing is, we shut off all the discoveries, the one-offs and the little discoveries, to fit the bigger narrative.
I mean, yeah, we do that with everything, though. We do that with like bones of giants. We do that with the pyramids. We do that with the Nephilim stuff. We do that with dinosaur bones. We do that with footprints of humans and dinosaurs in the same lake bed. We do that with everything. So I get it. I know. I can see why the skepticism is there, and like the desire to question history and make it refit and stuff like that. But
on my channel,
it's a big one, bro.
Okay, well, on my channel on Ancient Angels or DemonErasers YouTube, I have an Ancient Angels tab. And if you go through there, I break down each one of these subjects in a little bit more detail and show some evidence related to it. So you can go through each section as I kind of explain some of these things.
Very cool.
Perfect.
And you'll be like, okay, that kind of makes sense. You'll be like, that's crazy, but that totally could be possible. I mean, like, the thing is, we don't know where we're at all. And to assume that we do know is foolishness, because you weren't there. You're just believing some other dude wrote down this thing and all these other people believe it too.
Yeah, you got a point.
That's true. It's just that is how accounting of history and humanity has been done for
thousands but there's massive gaps in all of it. So there's no point in saying we know exactly what happened. There's just no point. And here's what I'll tell you. The best thing to read is Josephus. Read Josephus, and you'll realize that most of Revelation.
That's probably like the nail in the coffin to the idea of those things are yet still future, because they sound very, very fulfilled. You know, and he has no reason.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't agree in Jesus either.
He's not a Christian. I don't even think he was. I don't know if he was a practicing, like Jewish. I don't know.
He was studying to be a Sadducee or whatever.
Dang. So then actually he would not want the prophecies to be fulfilled. You know what I mean?
Yep. So read Josephus's writings. It will give you some perspective. You'll be like, oh, shoot, everything in Revelation probably happened. Everything they're lying to us about has happened. And if that's the case, where are we in time? I don't know, but it seems like the little season's probably like, I'm like 90% sure we're in the little season. Like at this point,
you're 90%?
Like every time. At this point, yeah, I'm like 90%, dude.
Dude, so I believe everything you were talking about with the Josephus stuff, that a lot of that's already been fulfilled and stuff. I just also believe that Revelation is like, I don't know if dual fulfillment is the right term or cyclical.
I've heard that before.
But that Revelation and the destruction of Jerusalem or of the temple, it's a prefiguring of a final destruction that is yet to come, which will be a global
foreshadowing
thing. A foreshadowing, basically, you know?
I've heard that.
Which kind of unifies a few perspectives where things can be fulfilled back in 70 AD, but yet we can still wait for these tribulations and things to still come. You know what I'm saying? And to me, I'm like,
that's a
possible.
Theory. Yeah, one of my buddies postmodern thinks that too.
Postmodern?
Yeah, postmodern theology, he calls himself.
He thinks that?
Kind of, yeah.
Is he the Australian dude?
Yeah.
I thought he's Orthodox.
Yeah, but he believes that a lot of this stuff's already been fulfilled, so he doesn't. That's why he calls himself
come.
Yeah, that's why he calls himself postmodern. So he doesn't know, but he kind of thinks there may be a doubling of stuff or what. But he's studied history a lot. He explains a lot.
I've never heard anybody else say that it's like a repeating pattern. You know that.
Oh yeah, ask him. Talk to him. Get him on and ask him about it. I mean, he's got different views, but yeah, cool. Because we don't know where all this stuff is. We don't know the truth. We weren't there. All we can do is go off what we know, but we can know that there's a lot of historical stuff that they've been lying to and manipulating, and that a lot of it's already come to pass.
And on that note,
Rapture is not happening in September, just so you guys know.
Dang it. I really hoping,
sorry.
man.
I mean, bro, to be honest,
banking
like,
on it.
there's so much weird stuff in Christianity right now. I'm so it's overwhelming, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's
that's
so
the
much.
deception, right? That's the deception.
Satan was let out to deceive the world.
Yeah, and
Doing a
that's
pretty good
where
job.
that's where I do agree. I do agree with that. I can't believe that Satan's bound right now. I mean, I think you have to be a little like crazy to believe that, to be
I
honest.
definitely don't
You
think
know?
he's bound, but I also currently don't think we're in the little season post-millennial, because I just the same way I can't wrap my mind around Satan currently being bound, I can't wrap my mind around that Jesus already ruled. And reigned for 1,000 years.
I'm
Those
not
are
there
two
yet.
things
Why?
that
If
I can't
Satan was
square
let
away.
out to deceive the nation, what makes you think he didn't deceive the fact that Jesus was reigning for 1,000 years? That's so easy to believe. He was literally let out to deceive the world. How is that hard to believe?
I just don't. I get it. I just don't think that that's happening.
And he called the light ages of Jesus reigning the dark ages. That's totally a thing Satan would do.
It is. I just can't get there yet. You know what I'm saying?
We need more.
all right.
We need more.
Yeah.
We need more.
Brian, love you, bro.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for coming on and explaining this to me.
Yeah. Very interesting stuff.
And
man.
for everybody that was in the chat, thank you guys for being here. Remember to like the video. Listen, we get people on here that share all sorts of stuff, you know, because this is something that is making its rounds online and that people are like talking about and chatting about and stuff. So I want to know what it's about, where it comes from, why you believe what you believe, and pray about it, see where the Spirit leads you. And I think we're all trying to figure out truth as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, and lastly, these are just some of my speculative ideas that I'm sharing with you guys. They're not necessarily all fact. You got to look into these things.
No, you're kidding.
I'm giving you perspective of what I think could have happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. Brian, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, brother.
Love having you.
We'll see you guys all
Stay
on
safe,
the
okay?
next. Stay safe.
Yep, for sure.
Hey, order yourself a shield.
A shield.
A shield. That's a good shield right there.
All right, love you guys. See you on the next one.
All right, later, guys. Bye.
Peace.